If it's your first time and you're looking to build a £400 gaming PC, this video is actually made for you. Well, I know you're used to me making videos in dollars, but this video is actually requested by a subscriber. And remember, if you're interested in any of these parts that I'm going to mention in this video, I've dropped a link in the description down below that can be very helpful for me. If you buy those parts, I get a little bit of cash. Now, on with the video. Now, we're not going to waste any time. For CPU, we're going to go with a Ryzen 5 5500. Overall, my favorite CPU right now. This CPU right now is a little bit more expensive. A couple of weeks back, this CPU was around $70, but right now it's at $74 on Amazon. You can also find it on Newegg at the time of recording this video. And this is a very fantastic CPU. This CPU competes with CPUs like an i5-12400F and an i3-13100F. But unlike those two CPUs, this CPU supports only DDR4 and only limiting your PCIe Gen speed to Gen 3. So that's the only downside of this CPU. I'm also using this CPU right now in my gaming PC, and this CPU comes with a stock cooler all day every day, and especially if you're buying it brand new. And that is why we are not going to include a stock cooler in this video. For motherboard, we're going to do things a little bit different. We're going to go with the Gigabyte A520MK micro ATX motherboard for around $77 on Amazon. Not available yet on Newegg, I assume, because people may be buying this motherboard like crazy. But yeah, this motherboard is actually suitable for the Ryzen 5 5500. No need for BIOS update because this motherboard is not that very old. And remember, 2 memory slot in this motherboard, so you have to be a little bit careful because you can't just upgrade just like that. You have to like remove those old RAM sticks and then put in new RAM sticks. But overall, yeah, this is a very fantastic motherboard. And so speaking of RAM sticks, for RAM we're gonna go with G.Skill Ripjaws 32GB 2x16GB. Remember, our motherboard only supports 2 RAM slots, and that's why we're going to be going with 32GB right now. And I gotta let you know, 32GB is actually needed in 2025. I'm not gonna lie to you. Every time when I play my games, I always hit 16GB of memory. So 16GB is not really that useful in 2025. But yeah, if you don't have cash, what can you do? 16GB is a way to go, but 32GB is what I would recommend. So this is a DDR4 3200MHz with CL timing of 16 for just $55. Hey, you know, 3200MHz is actually useful because, you know, I'm using 3200MHz and I'm not having any issues, and I recommend these RAM sticks all day every day. It's also available right now on Newegg. So moving on, for storage we're gonna go with the Craftcraft 500GB. I gotta tell you, if you have a little bit of extra cash, you have to go with the 1TB. 500GB is not good enough in 2025, but for the sake of our budget, because storage can always be bought after the build is complete, you can buy an SSD if you want, but for now we're gonna be going with this one. This one is gonna be running our Windows, so yeah, we're gonna be going with this one. So to pair with our Ryzen 5 5500, I have a perfect GPU for you. This is the ASRock Challenger D Radeon RX 6600, a 8GB GPU for just $220 on Newegg. Not available yet on Amazon, but if you want a link, I've dropped a link in the description down below. You can go ahead and check this GPU out. This GPU can play in a game in 1080p medium to high settings and even alpha settings in games like Call of Duty Warzone, Forza Horizon, you know, lots of games. For entry-level gaming, this is what you actually need. You don't need something that is actually more expensive than this, because, you know, it's in the middle of the year. Not a very smart time to buy a GPU or build a gaming PC right now because things are expensive as heck. And this one is actually a little bit behind the RX 7600. But yeah, this GPU is actually decent. And for the case, we're gonna be going with something a little bit small. I know most of you might not like this case because it's small and it doesn't look that much good looking. But yeah, you can go ahead and check some videos out of people building in this case. This is a very fantastic case. It's a little bit small, but what's inside this case is going to be impressive. We have the Ryzen 5 5500 and the RX 6600, 32GB of memory, and this is going to be fantastic. So this is the Cooler Master Box Q300L, a micro ATX tower case for just $40. Very much cheap for budget builders, but for £400 I believe you can do something better. But you know, we sacrificed a lot of cash when it comes to performance, and we can actually always upgrade the case in the future, but performance is actually what we need. And with this case, you can go with a lot of options. You can go with black and gold, you can go with white. Actually, some of them are not actually available right now, but you can go with white and green. But yeah, we're gonna be going with the black one instead. And for the power supply, we went actually overboard, but it's good for future proofing. But all we need is 450 watt for this gaming PC. But for future proofing, this is perfect. This is the Thermaltake Smart 500 watt 80 plus certified power supply for just $40, the same price as our case, which is actually amazing. This PSU is actually cheaper on Amazon at the time of recording this video, but you can also find it on Newegg for $2 extra. But I would recommend that you go and check it out on Amazon. And our estimated wattage for this build will be 296 watts, which is plenty. Like I said, we only need 400 watts or 450 watts for this build, and that would be enough. And remember, every time when you build a gaming PC, you should always consider buying second parts, especially when it comes to the GPU, maybe the CPU or the motherboard. But I would recommend that you buy second hands when it comes to the GPU, because the GPU can tend to be the most expensive part of your PC. Well, actually, it is the most expensive part of your PC. Like for example, in this build, you could have fitted a RX 5700 XT, which was gonna be around $150 if you buy them second hands at some point, and you could have saved a lot of money, and you could have went with 1TB SSD or maybe a much better case. But in this case, we're gonna be dealing with what we have because we are buying a brand new part. Now the total price of our build will be $540.29. That is 400 pounds at the time of recording this video. Now remember, if you want help building your first gaming PC and you don't want to make mistakes, let me know in the comment section and I can help you out. I can make a video for you. And remember, if you're interested in any of these parts that I just mentioned, I've dropped a link in the description down below. Now see you in the next video.